This is the anthem. Here's what you came for. This is the moment magic was made for. Come on, let's light up the sky now. You'll feel the magic happening right now.
Hello there. Welcome back to Fan Fatales.
Take a ride with us on the Hogwarts Express.
Walk down Main Street with our best super pals.
And defy gravity as we talk about all things fandom.
Hello, and welcome back to Fan Fatales, a member of the Real Fans Podcast Network. I'm Emma.
And I'm Gaby, and this week is our 50th episode. We did it!
We did it.
One whole year.
Yeah.
One whole
because we took
very
a
stressful year.
2-week break for the Christmas holiday.
For Christmas and New Year's. We took 2 weeks off.
Yes.
So 50 episodes is one whole year.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Which means this time next year will be 100 episodes.
I don't even want to think about it.
It's crazy. But we have a packed episode this week where we were going to cover some highlights.
You know what I just realized?
What?
We have episode 5, part 1 and part 2. Does that make this our 51st episode?
You messed us up with that episode 5. I was not on that episode.
So does that make this our 51st episode, or is episode 5, part 1 and part 2 one episode?
One episode
split?
together, just split. That's what
I
you
agree.
told me it was almost a year ago.
Almost a year ago. Okay, fine. Let's go
Wow,
with it.
we had our guest episodes that early?
We did. Jeez. I mean, it was 2 of my friends.
Well, and then I had... Okay, we'll get into it.
Yeah,
but
we have a lot to talk about.
Yes. We have a packed episode this week, and we are going to cover some highlights of this year.
As well as some plans that we have for the future.
Yes. So, to kind of start us off on our grand 50th episode thing, our friend and former guest of the show, Kit Hemmings, asked us over on our Instagram, what's one thing you've learned over the course of a year making podcasts?
Scheduling is impossible.
Yes.
Scheduling is hard. That's one
Yes.
thing we've learned.
For sure.
Also, being flexible is very important.
Yes. For sure.
Because there have been many times where we sit down and we look at our notes and we go, I have zero interest in making this episode right now.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of episodes like that. Of course, last week, or was it last week? When we were supposed to record with the Real Fans guys?
Yeah.
Some scheduling things got messed up there, and
we had to go with the flow.
Which is why we ended up getting 2 history episodes right in a row.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. In October, I remember we were doing all of our movie reviews, and we both said we thought if we had to watch another horror movie, we were going to explode.
And then we did that again in December.
Yeah, because
we're not doing that again in October and December. We already have our plans
Absolutely
for October
not.
and December.
No, maybe one.
I think that's our plan, is doing one of those.
And it's not even a review. I think we're just talking about our favorites and why.
Yes. Which I don't watch horror films, so that will be interesting.
Watching that many.
It was 25
movies. Because
it was 5 an episode. Or 20.
We watched 25 movies in the month of October. And
no, we started filming because we usually record at least 2 weeks in advance.
That's true.
So we started recording them the second to last week of September. Hi,
but,
I have
okay,
convention brain, so anything I say is
a little kooky. It's fine.
Yeah.
No, but So, like, over the course, let's just generalize. Over the course of a month, we watched 25 movies. And then in December, we watched even more.
No, because we ended up... So we were supposed to... This would have been our 51st episode, technically.
You're right.
Or no!
We ended up canceling an episode.
We ended up canceling
That's
two.
why we canceled the episode, because we couldn't do it anymore. Remember, we both said, I can't do it anymore.
No, I think it was my finals week, and then I was like, we can't record one this week because I'm in university. And then
I couldn't stand watching any more movies.
Yes. So then I was home, and I had brought, like, my microphone home, and then I ended up not recording at all. And that's when my first microphone broke. So our video listeners, when they're watching hopefully
That's
all
right.
of them, when I get them, hopefully all edited. I don't know what I'm saying. Hopefully
Weren't you supposed to have them up in like 2 weeks from now?
in a week from now?
Yeah, a week from now.
Yes. I have convention brain. We'll see how many I get done. There might be some all-nighters being pulled.
You're at like 10 now, aren't you?
I feel like a little bit more than that. I think I'm like 15.
Okay. But out of 50?
It's fine. Well, I won't be able to have episode 50 out until at least Wednesday afternoon because Kara edits them on Tuesday.
That's true.
Yeah. Hi, Kara, our lovely editor.
Hi, Kara. We love her. That's another thing we learned is how to piss Kara off.
You should. So she was talking about after she edited the 2 history episodes with me, how she wants us to make a shirt about how you and I can't read our notes.
What is it supposed to say? Just like, I can't read? Like,
Yes,
what?
I can't read. Or something like that. She wants that, and she wants Perpetually Tired Editor made into merchandise someday.
I agree. I think that's a future goal, merchandise.
Yeah. We'll talk about
talk
more
about that.
plans for future.
Yeah. Okay.
I got
so
you into
let's
Narnia in this past year,
see. You did? That was really cool.
which the Peter Pan cosplayer I met today, he and I were talking, and I mentioned Narnia in the conversation at one point, and he went, "You know who I want to cosplay?" I went, "Who?" He went, "Tumnus." It's like, I want to cosplay
Yes.
Lucy. Can we please do it together?
Yes.
Hi, Tyler. Shout out to you if you're listening.
You guys are besties now.
Yes.
Okay. So, we have a lot of highlights this year.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Should we do the highlights first and then our favorite and craziest episodes and moments?
Sure.
So I think let's start in the beginning, I guess.
Yeah, why don't we just go through like the episodes and then we'll like go through the episodes and we'll talk a little bit about them, and then as
Okay.
we get to these accomplishments, we could talk about them.
Yeah.
Cool. So,
Hold on. Let's hope
Episode
it doesn't
1.
start playing or show.
episode 1 released on May 26th, 2021.
Oh, jeez.
Let's see. We
didn't know what to do.
We had no idea.
It says Disney princesses or something like that, and I feel like that describes the episode so
Very well. This is back when I still had creativity when it came to titles.
I love your titles. I came up with one recently. We'll talk about that later.
if you go through the titles, they like slowly become less creative the older they get, or like the newer they get. So anyway, first episode, we had no idea what we were doing. We were just babies. We were all over the place.
Yeah, we were like, I think.
Heck, have we learned anything? We're still all over the place.
I feel like we're less over the place, so Kara might disagree.
Yeah, I think she makes us a little less all over the place.
I'm just laughing at episode 4's title because I forgot about it.
Episode 4. Episode 4 is
Wait,
the time
are
Gaby
we
almost
just
got in
gonna-
a fight at Comic-Con.
Are we just gonna skip through 2 and 3? I mean, yeah.
Yeah, why not? I mean, we got just fandom things, which was pretty basic. We
Yeah,
just
it was
talked
like
about
a
regular fandom stuff.
So it says At least from what I can see, because I don't want to click on the episode. This week, Gabby and Emma explore who would make ideal quarantine partners and ones who are less ideal. I think we did that for each fandom.
I agree. I think we did.
And I feel like I said Chewbacca wouldn't make a great quarantine partner in that one, but I can't remember.
I honestly don't remember much of what we said.
Honestly, something I've learned is I will, like, especially me, like, re-listening to them, I'm like, I've said that on the show.
Right? I forget half the stuff we talk about. And then, like, I had to review some episodes a while ago when we were getting on the Real Fans Network and, like, talking to Andy and all that stuff about, like, joining them. And I was, like, having to listen to our old episodes, and I was like, damn, we're funny. I was in my painting class. No, you are too. I was sitting in my painting class, like, laughing to myself, and I was like, oh my gosh, if people knew I was listening to my own podcast right now.
That was me. I forget. I think it was, I was listening to episode 6, which we'll talk about in a little bit, and I was just laughing my butt off walking around campus. That and the Battle of the Disney Parks ones. I remember walking around over the summer, like, walking around campus, and was, like, laughing at our own show. And then I stopped listening because I have to edit videos.
Smart. You're gonna have to listen to everything all over again.
Yeah.
So, anyway, skipping episode 4, we talked about Marvel for the first time, which was pretty cool.
Oh, and that's when we ranked our films.
That is. I would love to do it again, maybe sometime in the near future.
Especially
to
with the
see
new
how
ones
they've
coming.
changed. Yeah. Yeah.
I need to see Eternals still.
Me too.
I've seen Doctor Strange. I haven't seen Eternals.
I still need to see Shang-Chi, so I'm way behind.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
So you have 3
so
movies.
moving on.
Was our first guest
go.
episodes.
Yeah, moving on is our first guest episode, which was really cool. I had 2 of some of my really good friends.
I think we had, like, vacations the week, like,
we did.
week after each other. So then it's, like, 2 guest episodes in a row where I'm like, hey, Gabby, find someone to come on the show.
Yeah.
And just talk.
I don't remember where I was the following week. I don't remember what we were doing in June. What was I doing in June?
Well, it would have been
Where
your
did I
birthday week
go?
when we recorded, I believe.
I don't remember where I went, honestly. I was in Disneyland. That's where I was.
Yes, because while we were recording it, you were sending me pictures of Marvel Land.
That's
Marvel
right.
Campus.
I was. It's Avengers Campus.
Avengers Campus.
Excuse
I'm
you.
sorry, I'll never get it because
Never.
of whatever.
Adventure Island. Islands of Adventure.
Islands of Adventure. It's like Adventure Island.
Okay, but yeah, so I talked with my friend Jason and my other friend Campbell, whose birthday was a few days ago. We're going out on Sunday for brunch.
Ooh.
I'm so excited.
I love brunch.
Oh, brunch is the best.
Yes.
But we talked about Dungeons and Dragons for the first time. We haven't talked about D&D in a long time.
Hey, we're about to have a birthday episode for you.
That's true. If we can get our friends to commit. That's the struggle.
I feel like we can.
I think we can too.
Especially if we get on the radar, like, this week. We can.
Now.
Yeah.
Yeah. We can figure it out.
And then afterwards, when Gabby had her Disney birthday trip, I
Which
had
was awesome.
Ashley LaFair, Kit Hemmings, and Maddie Macon on, and the title of the episode is Cal Kestis Simp Hour.
Which is true.
It was just every character we sent for hour.
Yeah.
If you listen to that, we had no notes. I remembered that. I, had notes to introduce them, and then it was...
And that's it.
Oh, I think I asked them the Star Wars questions I ended up asking you whenever we did our first Star Wars episode together.
Which was, I think, was pretty early.
Episode 11.
That late? Really? No. Oh, yeah. I think you're right.
And I remember that because I was like, I just talked about Star Wars. And you were like, but I haven't talked about Star Wars with you.
At all. Yeah.
But to the questions I asked you in that one, I had originally come up with for our guests, or for my guests.
Right.
So it was like, what species you'd want to be in Star Wars and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And then
I
we had
remember
our
this
first Walt Disney World versus Disneyland resort.
Which, as we know, has become a staple here on Fan Fatales. Anytime somebody brings up Disneyland or Disney World, the other always has to counter with the other.
Yes.
Like, if I'm like, Disneyland has the best churros, then you're like, yeah, but Disney World has 4 parks. And I'm like, okay.
I usually don't go that far. Though Disney World has my least favorite character, made my least favorite character in all of Disney, no offense to y'all.
Are you going to tell the story about the bad driver? Was this morning?
It was yesterday.
It was yesterday.
So I'm running
so you
errands,
have to hear the story.
and I'm already like very stressed out because I still need to finish one of my cosplays for MegaCon this weekend. It's a problem, and I was leaving Michael's, and there was a really bad driver in front of me, and the sticker on her car was Figment, who everyone on Fan Fatales who has listened to our show knows is my least favorite character.
Figment is Emma's worst enemy. Emma hates Figment with a burning passion.
I do.
I, on the other hand, kind of think he's cute. So, she's giving me a death stare right now.
Anyway, okay. Oh, and then we talked about our first musical episode. Musical theater. And that one we talked about TikTok musicals.
That's when we first talked about the Bridgerton musical.
That's another
and they
staple.
They just won a Grammy.
That's weird.
Right? This is back when it started.
Wait. Is this the episode where we first started getting Gaby Sims for Patrick Page?
I think so. I think so. Patrick Page, if you're listening to this, which I'm pretty sure you're not, but if you are, in the off chance that somebody who's listening to this even knows Patrick Page, I would love to speak with him.
Come on the show, Patrick Page.
Come on the show, Patrick.
This is like the 4th time we've done it in the past 4 episodes.
Okay, but not in 4 episodes. This is like the 4th time we've done it in the history of the show.
We did it with Tobey Maguire 2 weeks ago.
Oh, yeah.
We did it with any of the Potter actors.
I meant specifically for Patrick Page.
Oh, I meant with any actor.
No. Specifically for Patrick Page. Every time we bring it up, we talk about this.
And then episode 9 had a staple where Emma brings in Narnia into a conversation that Narnia doesn't need. Actually, Narnia was needed in that conversation.
Narnia was needed in that conversation, but this is... Emma brings up Narnia so much.
What can I say? It's one of my favorites.
It's good. No, I understand why it's your favorite now. I totally see it. It's not my favorite, but I get it.
Yeah.
I love it. It's great. I do. Okay. Then is our first historical episode. Episode 10, Pixar Palooza.
Wow.
We talked about the Pixar theory in depth. We also discussed the history of Pixar. This is also the episode that I sent to Andy to
really?
get us up on the Real Fans Network. Yes, I sent him Pixar Palooza as well as another one. I just don't remember which.
That's interesting.
But that's or I might have been Leave It to the Sorting Hat.
I think so, because Kara had said that was a really good episode because we were on top of things.
Yeah, that was one day we weren't scatterbrained.
No, and we just fought about houses, and I convinced you that I was right.
For a lot of them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then we did our first, let's talk about how women are treated in fandoms, being the actresses in Star Wars.
In Star Wars, yes. Let's see.
Which we did, like,
Second-
good and bad. Because we did, like,
Yeah.
Ashley Eckstein with her universe, and then, what's the actress who played Rose's name? But
I
her
don't know.
treatment. And, like, the fact that Daisy Ridley, like, had to delete her social media because of Star Wars fans after Rey.
Yeah, that stuff. Let's see. Then we have another D&D episode. We did a lot of D&D at the beginning, honestly.
That episode felt so long to record. I remember that episode. I think it was like 3 hours, and it's cut down to an hour and 30 minutes because a lot of it was just us reading in silence.
Yeah,
How is it only an hour and 30 minutes?
because most of it is silence.
I don't want
This
to
was
edit
a lot
that
of
one.
this was a lot of me talking.
I think I, like, stopped listening to you at one point in it, where I was, like, on my phone as you're giving, like, the history of D&D. I think you can see that in the video. I'm just, like, on my phone.
I think you can. I think I remember being like, bruh.
Yeah. There are some episodes that are, like, early that I really do not want to record. Or, like, edit that are video.
Good luck.
Most of them being group ones. Because we get
That's
another
fair.
big group one soon.
Yeah.
Those ones might
then-
just be with our logo, honestly.
Honestly, that's fine.
Okay.
So
I
the
might
next
just do
one.
that. I don't know.
Okay. So the next one is Disney animation. A very, very long story. I felt like I talked forever in that one too.
Yeah, because that was before we started, like, let's actually, like, read off bullet
Split
point
up.
by bullet point.
Yeah. Which is really nice because I appreciate not having to talk.
And I've
a
been
lot.
the one finding the history notes recently.
Yeah. It used to be me when
But
I had
then
a
you
ton of
got a
time on my
recent-
hands.
Or you got a real person job.
Yeah, I got a real person job now, guys.
That's another
I don't
thing
work in
that's
retail
changed.
anymore. Did I even share that when I changed jobs? I don't think I ever did.
I don't think so. I think,
Yeah,
like, it was kind of secret because you didn't want people to know what company you had worked for.
Well, okay, I can talk about it now. Well, maybe not. Well, who cares? I don't work for them anymore. What are they going to do? Fire me? But yeah, I used to work for Hot Topic, and I don't work there anymore. I do social media management and reception and a bunch of, like, office stuff for a pool construction company. And it's,
And I'm a babysitter for the summer.
yeah, and an RA.
Which is a glorified babysitter.
You're not wrong. Half of the stuff you tell me, I'm like, oh my gosh, these are children. Literal children.
And you'd think that they'd be adults. Because they're legal adults.
But they're not.
Episode 17 just started trying to play.
I love it.
Oh, we get our first, like, big guest episode again.
Yeah.
Our
so then
first staple of Sean coming on the show.
Our first staple. Our first Femme Fatales next, like, regular thing, which is Sean coming in to save the day last minute because people cancel.
Yes, because I know my boyfriend's schedule, and he's like, I'm not doing anything tonight. So then I'm like, you love me, right? Like, calling him.
That's always how the phone call starts off, too. He goes, hey, what's up? And she goes, you love me, right? And he goes, yeah. And she goes, can you jump on Zoom? And he goes, do you need me on the show? And she goes, yeah.
And he's like, what is it? And I'm like,
It's a game.
it's a game. It's always a game.
Yeah, it's always a game. And he
And my
goes,
favorite thing
okay.
is he's never been on my team.
No,
Except
once
for-
has he been on your team.
No, except for the dating one.
Well, yeah.
But
But
like,
duh.
we did, like, Family Feud, and it was, like, the Jedi character. It was supposed to be the Jedi characters versus whatever
None.
from Enigma.
Yeah. But no, we changed it, and it ended up being
Rowan
you.
and Alex on my team.
No, Rowan was on my team.
No, Rowan was on my team.
Austin was on my team.
Yeah. Your brother in the show was on your team.
Yes, Austin was on my team and Sean was on my team.
Yeah, because I think we gave him the choice because Rowan also came in to save the day for that episode.
Yes,
because
they both came in super clutch.
Yeah, we were just like, hey, he's free.
Yeah, and so we had them do rock, paper, scissors, remember?
No, we were, yeah. And then I think Sean won, and then we were like, so which one do you want to be? Like, separatist kind of group or Republic?
Or like the Senate. And he was
Yeah.
like, well, obviously I want to be the Senate, so he joined my team.
I'm a senator.
Okay, but like, separatist senator. Anyway, let's see. We're gonna skip ahead a little bit to the one with the mysterious ticking noise.
I don't even remember this episode.
We talked about Harry Potter puppet pals.
I remember that, and I talked about how big the puppets are because I had just found that out from another podcast I had listened to.
We also talked about some what if scenarios for Harry Potter, as well as deleted scenes.
Was that like right after What If came out?
Yep.
Wow.
September 29th of 2021.
Yeah.
September 22nd.
Because
September 29th was Let's Watch a Disney Channel Movie. I really hope people got that reference. It's like, okay, you know, on old Disney Channel, like millennial Disney Channel. You'll remember this. It was with all the kids bouncing on the trampolines through the film strips, and it was the song.
We talked about this on the Disney Channel episode, the other one.
Yes. And it's the song, and they say the Let's Watch a Disney Channel Movie, right? Okay, you guys know what I'm talking about.
Let's see. And then Halloween.
Then
these are long episodes.
A true month of horror.
Okay,
Yes.
the Spooky Musicals one feels like it should be like 100 times longer.
Yeah. I feel like every episode should be 100 times longer sometimes. I look at these and I'm like, how is it only an hour and a half?
Yeah.
What
was it? It was the Spooky Musicals one specifically. Because we had to split that one into two parts. It's an hour and 38 minutes.
Did we?
No, not like it while we were recording it. Because we ended up starting late, and then I had to go on a ghost tour my friend was leading on campus.
That's right. I thought that was the modern horror movies.
No, because I remember wearing my Beetlejuice shirt.
That's right.
And all we had left to talk about was Rocky Horror. Oh, that's something the show introduced me to, was Rocky Horror.
Rocky Horror.
Which I did the time warp as Wendy Darling today.
Very nice.
Words that I never thought I'd say out of my...
like ever. Yeah. Let's see. These series also introduced me to some of my favorite horror movies. Yes. I mean, Ready or Not is like one of my favorites. I'm gonna watch it every Halloween. I love that movie. It
also introduced me to some of my least favorites, like Mother.
Oh, that movie was so bad. I think that was the first time we'd ever seen a movie that was like, yeah, this was truly terrible.
Yeah, that was the first like low rating I gave a movie on the show.
I agree. I think that was the first low rating. I mean, we gave Spookily the Square Pumpkin a pretty bad rating, but that was more because it's more aimed towards kids. But we gave it like a decent rating because it's like anti-bullying. Woohoo!
I remember I rated Mother worse than Spookily.
I think we talked about this. I don't remember though. But yeah,
I love
remember
how
that
we have
movie
an
was so
explicit
bad.
warning on the Hedwig is the best Harry Potter character. It's a fact.
I think we swear a lot in that episode. We try, okay, if you haven't noticed, we try very hard to be PG on this show. But sometimes you gotta let it go, you know? And in that episode, we were talking about how Hedwig is undeniably the best character. Best character, period. Seconded only by Minerva McGonagall.
I think we were also really mad because it says discuss the 2022 film, which would have been released in so now this year, Secrets of Dumbledore, which had just announced that Johnny Depp was erased.
Removed, yeah. We also talk about why Cursed Child needed to be replaced.
That is probably the more reason why that episode ended up.
Yeah, we were pretty upset about that. I remember that.
That and Johnny Depp. I'm still mad about Johnny Depp.
Well, I've been listening to the trial. We're going to take a, detour for a second. I've been listening to the trial, on just, my drive to work and, while I'm just, folding paperwork and filing and stuff like that. And it's been so interesting to listen to.
Yes, I agree.
In real time. It's very interesting. So, I don't know. I thought, going into it, I was going to be feeling very, one way. But I realized I'm kind of once you listen to all of the evidence, it's
yeah.
It's I don't even know how to explain it. It's just
it's weird.
I thought the evidence was going to be very biased one way. I thought that what I was expecting was for it all to be very against Amber.
Yeah.
Because that's what the media was making it seem like. And then upon listening to it, I was like, oh wow, this is much more kind of neutral than I thought.
Yeah. Okay, and then we get episode 26, because 25 was just building Disney parks / history of Imagineering.
Which was also very interesting.
Yes.
We watched the entirety of the Imagineering series for that. Which is 6 hour-and-a-half long episodes. It was a commitment.
You watched all of that. I watched one.
You watched
and a half.
One.
I think I had already seen them though before, so it was
I had already seen them too. I was just watching them again. I remember those notes were 15 pages long.
Yeah.
They were long.
And then we got our Nightmare Before Christmas smack dab in November because we couldn't
decide.
We basically argued about whether it should be a Christmas part of our Christmas group or our Halloween group, and then went, let's just
November.
A November episode. Mm-hmm. Which is how I view Nightmare Before Christmas, honestly.
I agree. I think it's the quintessential Thanksgiving movie.
Yes, because it takes place after Halloween.
It takes place after Halloween on Christmas, but it feels too spooky to watch during Christmas and too Christmassy to watch during Halloween.
Let's be honest, most of the film, if the climax of the film is Christmas, it takes place in November.
Yeah. So, therefore,
it's a November movie.
Thanksgiving movie.
Yes. And then we did Thanksgiving special, which is when we got Sean and Rowan, thank you guys, to come on.
Yes. And we played
Family Feud.
Yes, Family Feud.
I was about to out who was supposed to be our guest, but then I remember who was supposed to be our guest. I was like, who are our guests? Yeah, no.
So, yeah, it was us, editor Kara, as well as Austin, Alex, Rowan, and Sean.
The guys.
And it was very funny. The questions I found on familyfeud.com or familyfeudquestions.com or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember I had to do it without looking at the answers. I had to just kind of blindly highlight and copy paste it all into one giant document without looking.
Yeah.
Because I was like, people are going to think that I rigged it or that I know the answers, but I swear I didn't.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so we didn't just watch Christmas films. Oh wait, yes we did.
Yes, we did.
Because I was confused by the holiday at Disney, but that was when I watched the holiday Disney Parks special and then wrote down a bunch of notes about how they do Main Street and all the other Disney
and
things.
We talked about
the gingerbread house.
And we talked about Belle's Christmas whatever.
I forgot we watched that movie.
With oh my gosh, Tim Curry's in it. He plays the
organ. I forgot we watched that movie for the show.
Yeah, we did. It's oh gosh, what's his name? Fortissimo, is that it?
I think
Forte?
So.
It's Forte.
And then it's Pianissimo for the little piccolo guy.
The piccolo, yeah. Yeah, we watched that.
We watched that, and then we watched Mickey's Once Upon and Twice Upon a Christmas.
Yes, which are classics. Yeah. Honestly, I prefer Once Upon a, just because the animation style in Twice Upon a is Not the
I
best.
like the stories in Twice Upon a better.
I agree, but I like the animation of Once Upon a better.
Yeah. And then we did like modern Christmas films, and then the 90s and 2000s Christmas films.
Which are like classics. I mean,
Okay.
we talk about,
I remember you were the one who chose all of the modern Christmas, and I was just like, why are we doing this?
I know. And we watched the Dolly Parton one that just came out on Netflix that year, and it was so bad. The acting, they tried, but it was really bad.
That was even the worst part.
What was
the worst
part?
movie? I think the worst movie we covered was what was it? What did we cover in that episode?
I don't even know. I don't even have it on here. What we covered, which was
what episode number was this?
29.
Okay, I'm going back in our notes. Okay, Noelle. That was a good movie.
That one was good.
A Christmas Prince. The Princess
Those ones
Switch,
are good. That one's good.
And then Dolly Parton's Christmas on the Square.
Okay, so they're all good. It's just the Dolly Parton one. I was like, yikes.
Yeah.
I thought Noelle was really cute.
I love Noelle. Okay, and then we did Welcome Back, which is when we talked about all the things that were released in the break we took.
Before that, holiday announcement, we announced that we were a part of the Real Fans Network.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the RSS.com thing, and it doesn't have
because it's a bonus. It's not the same.
Yeah.
So we have holiday announcement in which we announced that we were a part of the Real Fans Network, which was really exciting.
That was Christmas?
Mm-hmm. Because remember...
I feel like I've known Andy and the guys, like, even though I haven't talked to them that much. Forever.
I know. I feel like we've known them forever. But
because I remember fully being, like, so excited for little Harley.
Yeah. Harlan.
Or Harlan.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And now you're looking for baby formula for Catherine.
Yeah. And Andy.
And Andy. Well, okay. Catherine is Andy's wife. Anyway.
I know. But,
But yeah, I announced that we were a part of the Real Fans Network because I don't remember why Emma wasn't available, so I just kind of did it myself.
That's also probably why I don't remember it. When did that episode come out? Or thing come out?
December 22nd.
I was in Texas.
Oh, there you go.
I was in New York
also,
and then in Texas like a day later.
That's right. I was going to say, but also... with the announcement, the reason I remember it was around Christmas time was because when Andy first introduced us on Holy Batcast, he had mentioned that we had just finished our Christmas series, and he was like, oh my gosh, Christmas, also more female voices, but Christmas, and they were like, oh yeah, no.
I remember that.
Yeah, and that was the first time they had talked about us, and I showed everybody the first 30 seconds of that Holy Batcast episode because I was so excited.
I remember, like, sending a Snapchat video being like, guys, Gaby and I have made it. We're on a network now.
I know. We were like, oh my gosh, we made it. I mean...
if Andy or the boys listen, because, who was it that said that they listened to our Star Wars episode? When we
it was Michael.
Michael. If they listen to this, they're going to be like, what?
Yeah. Yeah, like we were like, oh my gosh, we totally made it. This is it. Like, this is our big break. And
well,
then,
because after we got on the network, that's when we were able to start getting guests as, like, the one that we end up getting.
Yeah. I mean, we did start getting a lot more guests that weren't just, like, our friends. When we were on the network, once we joined. As well as, like, I think we actually started actively looking for sponsorship opportunities again.
Yeah, because all we have really is Audible right now.
Yeah, which, I mean, that's when we signed up with Audible, was around that same time.
I remember us signing up in, like, October, or, like, applying in October.
Yeah, but I don't think we got approved until later.
Yeah, I know that we didn't, because we were frustrated a little.
Yeah. But that was a process. I mean, we haven't done an Audible plug in a long time, but...
yeah.
We should probably do one soon. Speaking of Audible, if you follow the link in our description down below, you could get a 30-day free trial of Audible. It's audibletrial.com/fanfatales. You can get a free 30-day trial of Audible, as well as 1 book credit if you're not a Prime member. If you are a Prime member, you get 2 book credits. So
And
go
may
ahead
I
and follow
suggest the Narnia book collection.
that. Which is only 1 credit.
It's 1 credit for all 7 books.
Yep. So go follow that link in the description, audibletrial.com/fanfatales. Thanks. That was a really smooth transition.
I didn't even know you were going to do that, so...
I didn't either. I just kind of did it.
And then we welcomed ourselves back January 12th from our little New Year's vacation at Christmas and New Year's vacation. And that's when we talked about the late 2021 and early 2022 releases of Encanto, Tick Tick Boom, and the Return to Hogwarts, the 20th anniversary special.
Which were all amazing.
Yes.
And
Though
we're going to be
I found out
guesting.
afterwards. Oh, I found out afterwards.
Go ahead.
About the Return to Hogwarts special that they misprinted the names of the twins. They got them mixed up and then had to re-release the schedule like 2 days later because the twins had like watched part of it and were like, hey, I'm not James.
I love that.
So they were getting mixed up.
That's like the perfect opportunity for them to like just insert like a record scratch. Honestly, woman, you call yourself our mother, and then switch it.
That's why I had to bring that up because we didn't know that at the time when we recorded it because it was a week after, or not even a week after. I think I cried about it and then sent it to you to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, and we talked about Encanto, which we are in conversations with the Disorder guys to guest on. Hopefully they don't mind me talking about it.
No, because they keep talking about, like, because I've been listening to some of the earlier, or the newest Disorder. They're like, we'll cover Encanto soon. We have talks about doing it with a group.
Okay, good. So, hopefully we're not, like, spoiling anything. She said, eh.
And then we talked about updates to the Disneyland and Disney World Park because there were a lot between, like, episode, like, whatever to whatever.
Especially, like, and now even, like, we've been keeping you guys updated with
our fandom news that we do.
Yeah.
When did we start that?
I have no idea.
I'm not going to try to find.
Don't look. It's going to take forever. Recently, though, we started doing that maybe episode 30?
No.
Which would have been that episode.
33.
33?
Would have been. Or no, 32 would have been Disney Parks.
I think it was that. Okay, 32. I think it was that episode that we started talking about fandom news.
Well, I think we did it, but it wasn't like its own section.
You know, it wasn't its own segment until later, but like we talked about it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. We're gonna skip up a little.
When was the first time I brought up Percy Jackson?
One of my favorite titles I have come up with to date is Oh My Fails, My Fails. Don't ask me what your sacrifice was for.
I've looked at that episode title for so many times. I never realized, because I never like fully read it out in my head in Marius's singing voice.
You never got it until now, did you?
I never got it until now.
Yes, it's the Oh My Friends,
Look,
My
Sean
Friends.
is back on the show. Hi, Sean.
What?
Episode 36, Sean's back on.
Oh, yeah. The relationship game.
Yeah, February 16th.
That's when I decided to start editing stupid meme-like photos for the Instagram.
Well, so I think we had planned to do the relationship game, and then you were like, we should do rom-coms for Valentine's Day. And then what kind of happened so we did both. Ooh, we did some good ones.
Let's see. The Wedding Planner, a classic.
Life as We Know It, Sleepless in Seattle, and 50 First Dates.
Yes, and I remember when we were doing this episode, literally like the day you were watching Life as We Know It, it hit midnight and then you couldn't watch it anymore because they took it off of Netflix.
I remember that. I was mad. Let's not bring that up.
I think I had to give you my Hulu password so you could finish watching it.
I think so. And then we got my first Narnia episode, my first and only full Narnia episode.
Mm-hmm. Emma's birthday, in which I was watching the last Narnia movie up until like the minute we had to record. It was like credits rolled, 7 o'clock hit, and I had to run back here to record.
Yeah, you said 7 o'clock. I was like, no, it would have been 10 o'clock. But we're 3 hours different.
3 hours difference. That was always our regular time. That still is. 7 o'clock for me, 10 o'clock for her. It's what works.
Mm-hmm.
So then, let's see.
Oh, we did Disney playlist must-haves.
Which I think still stands.
Yeah. Oh, and that one we also talked about the Bechdel test for the first time.
Yes.
Wow.
Let's see. Musical theater icons, our first bracket style video.
Yes.
Episode.
And then Star Wars What If.
Yep, then we did Star Wars What Ifs.
And then
that's another boring one. What Ifs. That's all. I couldn't think of anything. You can tell when I lost my creativity.
And then you're a real Star Kid Potter. I like that one.
I stole that one from the show.
I know. And that one featured Kara. Because Kara Lensmeyer, our editor, and I are huge Team Star Kid fans. And we wanted to show Gaby some of our favorites. And we want to do more. And we would love to have some of the Star Kids come on at some point.
Yeah, that would be cool. This is also the day that Emma found out that I don't like the guy who didn't like musicals.
I'm still mad at you about that.
Why? I don't like it. I don't like it.
Let's not get into it. And then we got
our first like super awesome interview. The first interview that made me turn literally red. I turned red the instant she came into the Zoom. Like my whole chest went red.
I remember
my whole face
like,
went red.
So
I was sweating down my back. My whole back was dripping sweat. I was so nervous.
So this was another one where like
we had to be flexible.
About our 1 year, we had to be flexible because some scheduling things had happened, and we ended up. So this was supposed to be our episode 41, and then we ended up becoming episode 42. So we just ended up swapping the two. But yeah, we got to interview Miss Utah, but not for long, right?
Not much longer. Yeah, this week I think she gives up her title.
Wow.
But yeah, Miss Sasha Sloan, who is the CEO
of Archive
and creator
Sunday.
of Archive Sunday. If you're watching the video, you can see I have the beginnings of an Archive Sunday collage up. I have a second pack that I need to add to it, but that's what we're starting with.
And then we also talked about the Noble House of Black and like her experiences in fandom and Avatar: The Last Airbender. That was the first time I got to talk about Avatar: The Last Airbender on the show.
And that is our most popular episode to date.
I believe it.
Yep, it's the most popular episode across every platform.
Our Star Kid episode was 2 hours.
Yes, that is the least popular episode across every platform. Because it's long.
I mean, but Andy and the Boys, they like record 3-hour episodes.
Yeah, but it's also Andy and the Boys.
True.
They have a lot more followers than we do. We have a small but mighty audience, right? You guys.
We love you guys.
Hold on,
please comment on our Instagram.
In the distance, I can hear them cheering.
Please comment a pink or purple heart on our Instagram post.
Yeah, if you're listening to this episode. Yes. But anyway, moving on. Then
we have another explicit one, and it's Fantastic Beasts.
For a good reason. I mean, we did skip women in Marvel, but
like,
there's nothing more to talk about. It's just women in Marvel.
And gender-bent characters.
Gender-bent characters, too. Let's see. Yeah, then we did Fantastic Beasts, where we talked about all of them, and now we're going to have to do another episode where we talk about the Dumbledore one, and I don't know how I feel about it.
Have you seen it?
Nope. I'm waiting till Zach gets home because we said we were going to do a movie day where we were going to go see Dumbledore and Doctor Strange in one day.
Oh, jeez.
Maybe.
One movie I really liked on that list, and one movie was just all right.
Yeah, we have a lot of issues with Fantastic Beasts 2.
It fixed most of them, but with a stupid MacGuffin plot.
Okay, I don't want to know. Don't tell me.
That's all I'm going to say.
Okay. Next is, and you're watching Disney Channel, in which we talk about Disney Channel past and present.
Oh, yeah.
Mostly past. Mostly millennial Disney Channel. Mostly the people who remember when Boy Meets World was still on Disney Channel.
Yeah. Well, that was a history episode, right?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Okay. Well, no, that was like the history of the Disney Channel.
Yeah.
Which was
we
one of our
also-
first... Wait, can I talk about this real quick?
Go
It
ahead.
was one of our first episodes where we were really spot on accident with planning when that episode would come out, because it came out the week that Disney Channel was first on the air.
That's right, it did.
And we like just had planned to do that episode as like a filler in between the Marvel episode and my guest episode with Kara.
Yeah.
And then I was like looking up facts, and then was like, wait a second, when does this episode come out? It was like Disney Channel was started on April 18th, I believe.
Something like that, yeah.
And then what day did this episode come out?
April 20th.
April 20th. So it came out like 2 days after.
Yeah. We also talk about top 5 Disney Channel shows, and my top 5 are still what I said. Not changing it ever. Number 1, Boy Meets World. 100%.
I agree. My list
Till the
will
day
not
I
change.
die.
And then you had to. Where were you when I did this?
I was in
guest episode?
Ohio at a friend's wedding.
Oh yeah, and Kara and I got to talk about Batman and DC and our loves for it, and our favorite characters.
So Emma just talked about Dick Grayson the whole time.
Yes, and Kara had a set time for me to talk about Dick Grayson, and I did, and then I also had the same with Riddler for her, and then we watched Holy Musical Batman, where I got to talk more about Dick Grayson because he's one of the main characters in that show.
Is that why you like him?
No,
Okay.
Young Justice and Teen Titans is why I like him, and the Titan Show. Listen to that episode for reasons why I like Dick Grayson, which is me being like, I don't know what to say. I just love him. I just like ramble. I just ramble. That's how I end up. I saw a Dick Grayson cosplayer today. This is getting a little bit off topic, and it was so good.
It's fine.
It was so good.
Okay. So then we get to the first episode that actually has like a special artwork that I made.
Well, you made artwork for the Disney or for the holiday and the.
Yeah, but that was just like an overlay. I don't think I changed the episode artwork. I should change the episode artwork though.
Yeah, because when I edit them, I'm gonna put the holiday and the Halloween one.
Okay, yeah, but this is like the first one that's just like a standalone episode that got one.
Yeah.
And it's our
May the 4th episode that came out on May the 4th because it was a Wednesday this year.
It was awesome.
Yes. I love that
also-
episode.
That was also the day some friends of mine got engaged.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think my favorite quote of any Fan Fatales episode is, Emma, why do you love Chopper? He's chaotic just like me.
I'm sure there's a lot of really good quotes.
All from me not know. Because, like, I can't explain for most of the characters I love why they're my favorite character.
Mm-hmm.
And
Let's
I guess
see.
Chopper is one of them. Same with Dick Grayson.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
So I have
And then
a
we
few
did
quotes.
Marvel Comics. And
I have a few
Hogwarts
quotes
History.
here as our like
jeez.
some good quotes from episodes as our Instagram captions. So if you want to see them, go ahead, go check them out there. But I have Slytherins need their buddies too. We're not mean, just spicy. That was one of mine. That's a pretty good one. I think that one still holds.
Yeah.
Let's see. What else do I have?
Hold on. I'm going to look at Kara commenting on us. Because our editor, Kara, she will send us quotes as she's editing.
Yeah, she'll send us quotes. She's like, what the heck? Let's see. I posted my favorite video of my favorite Broadway fail ever.
That
one's on the
Broadway.
Instagram too. Huh? Or sorry, not Broadway. It was
like
theater fail.
Yeah.
Sorry, my favorite theater fail ever. Go check the Instagram out for that one.
I'm trying to find Kara.
I think my favorite Instagram post I've ever made is our relationship game one. Look at that. That's the one where I edited everybody's head onto the newlywed game.
Oh, here's me talking about Tessa Netting and Joe Moses' wedding.
I love the post that I did for your 21st birthday.
Yes, that was awesome. I need to edit ours before our trip. Guys, I don't know if we've talked about this on the show. But Gaby and I, first of all, we've never met in person.
No, we haven't.
And we are for the first time.
This June.
In about a month.
Less than
May
a month.
19th. Less than a month.
May 17th. June 17th.
June 17th, yes.
Yep. And we're really excited because we're going to Nashville for my birthday.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited to go shopping on this bus.
Yes.
And they give you charcuterie and champagne, and I'm so excited. My two favorite things, charcuterie and champagne.
Oh, there's my... Oh, here's Gaby. Or, not Gaby. Oh, ready? This is about my birthday episode.
Okay.
Kara, yeah, I didn't realize how long this episode was when I got home. It's a good thing we cut the sorting. At Sabiema, you tagged me in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, yeah. Kara went, oh my god, yeah, save that for another episode. And then she went, why the fuck do people like Figment? I don't get it.
Did you bring up Figment in a Narnia episode?
I think I did. I think it was in the fandom news, probably, if anything.
Was this about the popcorn bucket time?
Yes.
That was a crazy time. There were so many times when Lily would interrupt us mid-recording. Lily is my dog, for those of you who don't know. She's my best friend, and I love her very much, but sometimes she's very annoying, and her bark is very loud.
I'm sorry. Here's more to the Narnia episode 1. The same guy who directed Shrek directed Narnia? Well, Jesus Allegory Lion.
Jesus Allegory Lion. So now that we've talked about the history and the past of our show, I'd love to talk a little bit about our show's future.
So, some guests that we would like to have.
We have a huge list in our, we have
And some of them are kind of impossible.
It's okay. So don't say impossible. There's no such thing. The word
True.
itself says I'm possible. Audrey Hepburn. That's my email signature at work. We have a big document in which we keep all of our episode notes and ideas, or not notes, but ideas for episodes. We also have this huge list of dream guests that we would love to have on the show.
Yes. And I mean, some of them are literally from our network, so like it's easy to get them on.
Yeah, like some are easier, some are influencers, some are, one of them was somebody we've already talked to.
Yes. I'm looking at the list right now. And
Can I kick it off?
Are we just going to go down the list?
yeah, I think we should just talk a little bit about who and why.
Okay.
So
You
the
can
first
kick
one,
off with them.
the first one on our list is the Super Carlin brothers. We love their theories. We've talked about their theories, or the theories that they've shared.
Yeah, I've talked about some of them like throughout episodes, and then we did the Pixar episode. That was pretty much all just their episode.
Yeah. So their content is awesome. We love their stuff. We'd love to talk to them, and we'd love to have them on the show.
And then in capital letters, I was probably the one who wrote this.
I'm sure you were.
Any Star Kid. And then I listed some. Being Lauren Lopez, Joey Richter, Brian Holden, the Lang brothers, Devin, Meredith Stepien, and Jamie Lynn Beatty. Why does Jamie Lynn Beatty have a question?
That's Devin Little, right?
Yeah, Devin Little. But like I love the Star Kids so much.
You do.
I do. And it would be so interesting to talk to them about like how much everything has grown since 2009.
Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Are you looking up her name?
Yep, I am.
This next one was me as well writing, I know.
But I love them too, so.
Oh, okay.
The next one is Brizzy Voices and Tessa Netting. We would love to have them on the show. Brizzy is an incredible voice actress, and she is a great impressionist. And she and Tessa are huge Harry Potter fans, and we'd love to talk to them about that.
Yeah, they have a podcast called Fantastic Geese. Fantastic Geeks and Where to Find Them. Not geese. I don't know why I said geese.
Could you imagine that if it was just like a bunch of geese honking the whole time? New podcast idea.
And then we start getting into some of the bigger celebrities. Oh, do I get to read the more important one to me? No!
You can read it.
Now I do.
Okay, there you go.
So the next one is the Phelps twins, so James and Oliver. They also have a podcast called Normal Not Normal.
Well, okay, I feel like everybody started a podcast in 2021.
True. In 2020. I mean, so guys, I got to see John Mulaney.
Which is like one of my dreams. I want to see John Mulaney live so bad, and I'm so jealous. I got to see his show.
I wasn't supposed to. I was supposed to be babysitting that night, but the family got COVID, so then I ended up getting no tickets. But he made a joke about, so how's everyone's podcast how's everyone's quarantine podcast that they started going? Mm-hmm. And I texted Gaby afterwards, because they lock your phone up.
Really?
Like, in these bags. Like, you could not access your phone watching it at all.
Weird.
Or else I would have texted you, like, right then and there. He just made a
podcast joke
that I feel called out on.
Yeah, that's what she texted me. She just texted me, he just made a podcast joke. I feel called out. And then it's like the emoji with the red cheeks and the big eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Phelps twins are great. I mean, I just want any Harry Potter actor. We only have 2 of them on the list, but I'd love any of them.
Yeah, because we have the Phelps twins. We also have Ivana Lynch.
Yes.
We'd love to talk to her. I just saw her on another podcast, actually. I know which
she
one.
also has her own podcast. Because she went vegan, and she talks about, like, vegan options and all that stuff on her podcast. I don't know what it's called.
Interesting.
Yes. Oh, one of the other people I get to talk about has a podcast. That's fun.
That's a lot of people with podcasts. Because we have a podcast.
Yeah. Well, this one's a celebrity guy.
Okay.
I'll talk about it later. Ashley Eckstein. Ahsoka Tano. I meet her on Saturday.
I think she's gonna explode, you guys. She's so excited. Next we have Jen Marie, who is Anakin and his angel on Instagram, and I think TikTok too?
I believe so. I don't think she's that active on her TikTok.
I don't think so either, but mostly on Instagram.
Yes, and I've been following her for some time, and she also at one point had a podcast with another girl, and it was called Kyber Sisters.
That's cute. I've
And
been following her for a little while, but not as long as you have.
yeah, and she's a huge yeah,
Attack of the Clones?
yeah, Attack of the Clones fan.
That's my favorite movie.
I know. You and her would bond so much in that episode.
I love Attack of the Clones.
But that's how she started her account. Her Instagram account has been as old, or she started a blog, and then it became
her Instagram.
her Instagram.
Yeah.
And it was Anakin and his angel, and it was after Attack of the Clones came out, and that's when she met her now husband.
I believe that.
20 years ago. That movie's 20 years old.
Don't remind me.
I'm not gonna age us.
We already have, dude. We already talked about how we talked to the episode for your 21st birthday. We're going to Nashville for my 21st birthday. Like,
True.
we're screwed. We're done.
The next one
there you
is
go.
another
I'm
podcast.
20 years old.
Another podcast host that we have on our list is James Arnold Taylor, the voice actor of Plo Koon and Obi-Wan Kenobi in the Clone Wars show. He's also at this convention. I'm going to see him in passing. I don't think I'm going to get tickets to see him because he's like $60.
Fair.
But he has a podcast. I forget what it's called, but it's great. I think it's just called the James Arnold Taylor Show. Not going to lie.
Makes sense.
But he's a really big like voice actor and everything. Mm-hmm. Not just with Star Wars, but
in general.
Everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny because all the voice actors, they have like their banners with all their characters that they played or a snippet. Mm-hmm. And they had Matt Lancer, so Anakin, Ashley Eckstein, Ahsoka, and his up. And you saw like 5 characters on Matt and Ashley's, and then you saw like cluster on James Arnold Taylor's, and it was the funniest.
Sure. Like it didn't even fit on the whole screen, just like the whole.
No,
square.
it didn't even have like all of his characters.
I believe it.
I sent it to you.
So the next one is like another huge stretch, but we would love to have any of the women of Marvel. Mm-hmm. Literally any of them.
Yeah.
I don't care who.
Oh, I get to talk about another one I love.
You could talk about the next, like, 1, 2, 3, 4,
well,
5.
No, Darkside Divas is you.
No, it's not.
It's not me.
Not mine.
Kara?
No.
Kara has access to this document, and I know she loves Darkside Divas.
Not mine.
It's okay. So Kara wants us to have Darkside Divas come on the show. Yeah, I can't really speak on that. I haven't listened to most of their episodes. But the next 3 that Gaby was talking about, she's looking at pictures I sent.
Yeah, it's funny.
it was so funny. But is the YouTube channel Always Believe, which is Ash and Brian. They're a Star Wars couple that I found right as the park started closing in 2020. Like back of March of 2020, because they were doing like Star Wars vlogs out in the parks and all that. And I just became a huge fan of theirs, and still am, and I love them so much.
Yeah, and we're really excited to try to get them on the show as well.
Yeah, I think I've reached out to Ash.
Yes, I believe so.
But it was right as so many terrible things happened in her life.
I remember this.
We'll not get into it. And then the next 2 are Anna Popolo and Georgie Henley, aka Susan and Lucy Pevensey. Yeah. I chose them specifically for our list because they often guest on people's podcasts of the Narnia actors.
That makes sense.
It's them and Ben Barnes, interestingly enough. So Caspian.
Interesting. Okay.
But also he's been in a lot of things since Narnia, so it's like him talking about all of his stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
Whereas Georgie and Anna have been in stuff, but not as much as Ben.
Yeah. Is this one yours too, or is this one mine? I don't know.
I have no idea who the Hayes family is.
I think they're one of mine. I can't remember though. It's been so long since we've done it. If I remember correctly, I think they're a Disney blogging family.
I believe so. You know when I looked up Hayes, I got the president.
Oh, yes. Hayes Family Vlogs.
Yeah. Ash, Zach, and Malaya.
Yes. Their daughter has alopecia.
Yes.
Yes. Them. Love to have them on. Okay, the next one I really want to talk about because I really love his YouTube videos. And he lives in San Diego. I figured that out. Like, his P.O. box address is in San Diego. So I was like, oh, that means he must live in San Diego somewhere. Sorry, that sounds really creepy, but I swear it was just because I looked at his P.O. box. And it's Ben from Puffin Forest on YouTube. He makes the funniest and the most amazing animated D&D content. And if you don't know him, go watch his videos. They are so funny. They're so good.
Means I get to talk about the last one.
One of my favorite videos of his is, oh gosh, I can't remember what campaign it is, but they're talking about running into an aboleth, which is like a giant like sea monster.
Yeah.
And part of the campaign, I think it was Tomb of Annihilation, but I could be wrong. But part of the campaign is like you have to go into this room and there's like all these different floors and they're all different puzzles, and then like one of the floor, and like while you're doing the puzzles you hear this voice and you roll odds or evens to see if the voice is going to be good or bad, and like evil or like good. And the whole time they're in this project they keep rolling so it gets like an evil voice, and they finally get down to the level where they meet the aboleth, and he's like a little baby, and they're like, there's supposed to be a scary monster down here, and he's like, scary monster where? And it is just so funny, and it's so cute, and it's like so like true about like what D&D really is about. So I just love him. He's great. Ben, come on this show, please. I'm gonna send him like mail to his P.O. box.
Do it.
And the last one, can we talk about the last one together?
Yes.
So the last one,
yes,
is our childhood hero,
Dan Povenmire.
Everybody's favorite internet dad.
Oh, I love him. He's great.
And if
He
you
met
tag
a
him in a
platypus.
TikTok, he responds.
He is like Beetlejuice.
He is. Dan Povenmire, Dan Povenmire, Dan Povenmire.
Where is he?
Come on, Dan, where you at, bro? No.
I should clip this and just put it on one of our TikTok pages.
Yes, we should clip us just doing Dan Povenmire, Dan Povenmire, Dan Povenmire.
Yes.
Anyway, but yes, he's the creator of Phineas and Ferb and Milo Murphy's Law, and
Voice of
voice of Dr. Doofenshmirtz. He also did Hamster and Greta.
That's new.
That's new.
That's coming out.
Milo Murphy's Law was like towards the end of our Disney Channel time.
Yeah.
Start of this new Disney Channel era. But he's also done a ton of stuff. He worked on Family Guy, I think, for a number of years.
I believe so.
It was either Family Guy or... No, I think it was Family Guy.
I believe so.
Yeah, for like the early years. So then, last but not least, there's some episodes that there's some shows we would love to be a part of.
Oh yeah, that we want to guest on. Interesting.
Yes, and some of these actually we're going to be on. Well, one of them. One of them we're going to be on.
Well, and then Andy and I have, well, not really have talked about it, but have talked about me coming on a DC, or on a Holy Badcast episode, because DC.
Yeah, I don't know DC at all.
Yeah, so I get to have Andy come on the show and just talk to all things DC with. That's great.
You do that. You can have all of the Holy Badcast guys if you want.
So it's mostly just Andy, and then he'll have, like, reoccurring hosts. It's not like Disorder where it's the three.
Got it. So some of the podcasts that most of these are mine.
Yes.
I want to be on the D&D podcasts so bad. I want to be on an arc with them. One of them is Not Another D&D Podcast. Once I'm caught up, I'm like halfway through. I'm working on it.
Oh,
It's
I have
so
one
good.
I want to be on.
Not Another D&D Podcast is amazing. They're great. And in episode 5, part 1, Jason recommends listening to their podcast, and it's so good. Let's see. One of the other ones I'd love to be on is any of the One Shot Podcast Network shows. I love James D'Amato. I loved Campaign. Campaign was awesome. I would love to be on an episode. I would love to be on Campaign, like as a recurring character in Campaign. That would be awesome. That's like major life goals right there. But I'm pretty sure they all record in person. So that would, I don't know how that's changed though since
COVID.
The Panini.
And then the other 2 are Real Fans Network ones.
Yeah, so Disorder, which we are talking about joining them soon.
Yes. And then Holy Badcast with me, as I said. The next one I want to be on. Gaby doesn't have to be on it because she doesn't know Percy Jackson, but it's the newest Olympian. And it's the guy
Percy Jackson stuff I see though.
I know, thank you.
Now it's like on my For You page all the time.
But I forget the guy who... Of course he doesn't have his name on here. Oh, Mike Schubert. That's his name.
Mm-hmm.
And he did this with Harry Potter and now is doing it with Percy Jackson, where he reads through the books for the first time and goes like chapter by chapter with a guest who like knows the series really well.
Oh my gosh, you would be perfect for that.
Yes. He's on The Sea of Monsters, which is the second book of the first series, and there's like 2 Percy Jackson full series, plus the TV show coming out, plus the movies. Mike, have me on.
You would be perfect for that, honestly.
He also keeps on talking about how he wants Gen Z voices because all he has is really millennial voices.
Millennials?
Yeah.
Dude,
So he
we
keeps
should
talking about
email
how he
him right
wants-
now. No, not right now. Like when we're done. We'll email him when we're done.
Well, I know he lives in New York,
So
so it's late.
So
6 a.m.
in New York?
Yes.
New York is the same time as you.
Yes, it's 12:06 a.m. right now for me.
Oh, I thought you said it's almost 6 a.m. I was like, no.
It's 12:06 a.m.
Okay, sorry. I'm tired.
It's
I
6
guess.
minutes past midnight.
Yeah. So let's get to wrapping this up. One of the last ones that I wanted to talk about was I would love to be on the episode of The Office Ladies. I know that's like a super, super long shot because they usually only talk to the people who are on The Office with them. But like, even if I just get to talk to them for like 5 minutes, I would love that.
Yeah.
Because I love The Office. Zach and I quote The Office all the time. It's like one of our go-to shows. We've watched it about 100 times. I got him, like, at every Christmas, every birthday, we always get each other something The Office.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Sorry, I was just changing the outro.
You're good.
Okay.
So, we have some quick fandom news for you guys. Nothing too crazy. And then, you get to hear our new outro music. We also have some fandom news music in the works, but it's not ready yet. We're still kind of figuring it out. It will be here soon. We just don't know yet when. You'll know when it arrives, though.
Yeah.
It's epic. I'm so excited.
I'm excited. So,
It's gonna
shall
be
we
good.
get into this fandom news?
Yeah.
Excuse me. Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique locations are finally set to reopen at both Walt Disney World and Disneyland Resort later this year. We don't have an exact date yet,
But soon.
but soon.
Woohoo! It was announced that A Beautiful Noise, the Neil Diamond musical, will open on Broadway this fall, playing at the Broadhurst Theater. Preview performances will begin on Wednesday, November 2nd, and the official opening night is set for Sunday, December 4th.
Darren Criss and Julianne Hough will co-host the Tony Awards Act 1, which is an hour of exclusive content streaming live on Paramount Plus, which will commence at 7 p.m. on June 12th, prior to the live broadcast of the awards. I think the awards start at 8 p.m. But yeah, Darren Criss and Julianne Hough.
Yeah, I like it.
I didn't know
love
I
it.
needed it. I didn't know I
love it.
needed it.
Pirates of the Caribbean at Disneyland Park will be opening on July 1st after being closed since March. And have you seen the people on TikTok that are like, oh my gosh, now that it's reopened, is there gonna be no Jack in it?
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Oh yeah, people are speculating that they're gonna take Jack Sparrow out of it. But a lot of people are like, nah.
Probably not. I don't think so.
No.
We'll see. Kevin Feige revealed that not only is Loki the studio's most viewed Marvel series on Disney Plus, but that the show's second season would, quote, see the whole cast returning, end quote, as the series begins filming next month.
The Red Car Trolley will be returning to Disney's California Adventure this summer.
Walt Disney World tickets and resort bookings for 2023 will be available beginning this summer.
The Stranger Things season 4 finale is going to be over 2 hours long. That's nuts.
Stranger Things. Not gonna lie.
I've
never seen Stranger Things. Not gonna lie.
I love Stranger Things. Also, while we're talking about Netflix shows, Umbrella Academy season 3 is coming out.
Oh,
June.
and they announced who the title or the stars of Bridgerton season 3 is going to be.
They did.
Being Penelope Featherington and Colin Bridgerton.
I'm so excited.
I'm so excited. My mom and my mom hasn't finished season 2 yet, so we've been slowly watching it together.
Season 2 is bomb.
We're on we're about to start episode 7, so we're almost done, and she's really mad at Anthony right now.
Good. I'm trying to get tickets to the LA Bridgerton experience thing.
I'm mad.
I'm trying to go. I want to go.
You see, the closest one, well, I guess the closest one to me technically is DC, but I'm not going to DC anytime soon. So the closest one to where I'm actually vacationing this summer is in Chicago.
I think it closes, though, in June.
It closes a week before I get to Illinois for my friend's wedding.
Yeah, it closes June 12th, I think is the last day.
Yes. So about a week and a half before.
We're trying to get tickets to go.
Yeah. Mrs. Doubtfire will close on Broadway on May 29th at the Stephen Sondheim Theater.
Very sad.
Yeah, it only got one nomination. That was for Best Leading Actor.
Yeah. I heard it wasn't that great.
Yeah, I'm still kind of sad for everyone, though.
Me too. I mean, they're closing Andrew Lloyd Webber's Cinderella, like, super last minute.
We want to do a Broadway tea episode. That is Broadway tea.
That is totally Broadway tea. We should do a Broadway tea episode.
I have, like, ideas listed in that
Okay.
ideas thing. What was so great was I saw a video. So, like, 2 days in a row for Mrs. Doubtfire. One, the actress who played the daughter, like the oldest daughter, she did we're going to hold the curtain and acknowledge that Rob McClure just got nominated for Tony Award for this show.
Woohoo!
And then, like, 2 days later, they're like, someone in this cast just graduated from college, and instead of being at her college graduation,
she's
here performing, and it was the oldest daughter
Aww.
in the show. And it was the cutest thing.
That's really cute.
Yeah.
We're almost done, you guys. Jennifer Lopez is set to partner with Concord Theatricals and Skydance TV for a new limited series based on Roger and Hammerstein's Cinderella.
Do we need another Cinderella? That's all
Probably
I'm going to say. The Tony-nominated Broadway musical Girl from the North Country announced that the production was professionally captured prior to its reopening on April 29th for future use. Pro shot? ?
More pro shots? I like the idea.
Yes.
Michaela Diamond and Ben Platt to star in Parade at New York City Center, directed by Michael Arden.
Yes. And then nominations for the 66th Annual Drama Desk Awards were announced on May 16th, and they gave a non-competitive award to the ensemble for 6. It's a Best Ensemble Award, and they gave it to the 6 ladies instead of picking which one was a lead actor for the Best Leading Actress thing. So they gave them a non-competitive award that is Best Ensemble.
I
And
love it.
Tony Awards take freaking notes.
Really. So, that is the end of our 50th freaking episode.
Yeah.
Holy smokes! One
That's
whole
crazy.
year. 365 days have passed since we started.
Actually, more than that. Because we're recording
Yeah.
this on the 20th, and our first episode was the 12th, I believe.
Yeah. So, thank you, every single one of you
Yes.
who has listened to us this far, whether you started listening to us at the very beginning or if you just
Or
started.
after we started with Real Fans, or even after Sasha came on.
Yeah, thank you to every single one of you who
Yes.
listens to us. We appreciate you so much. And
Yeah, we do.
without you guys, we wouldn't even be doing this.
No.
I don't know, we might. But honestly, I think I probably would have given up.
Yeah, I remember, I forget who it was, but someone I think DM'd us after we were having technical difficulties for one of the
Yes.
episodes.
I will tell you who it was right now.
Yeah, and could you read what she actually wrote? Or they
Yes.
actually wrote, rather?
Yes, give me 1 second. So, let's see. So, okay. We posted on our story on April 5th about an issue with our episode. We had some issues editing, and we were having a really hard time getting it out. And I was super stressed at work, and Emma had a ton of stuff going on, and it was just a lot all at once. And we had posted a little note on our story that said, hey everyone, we're so sorry. We ran into some issues with this week's episode, and it'll be coming out on Thursday. Thank you so much for your understanding. And we got a DM from one of our followers, from one of our listeners, Tropes. I hope I'm saying that right. It's TROPZ on Instagram. And they said, no problem, take as long as you need. We all love you, with like a bajillion emojis.
Yeah.
And honestly, it like made my heart so full. And
I love
just-
it so much. Thank you
so much.
That really made our week, because we were both having a really stressful week. Me with school, and Gaby with work, as she said, and it was just
It was
so
a really
nice.
stressful week, and I really appreciated having just a break. I don't even know, just having somebody appreciate and say, hey, like, it's okay, take your time.
Yeah.
And knowing that even if we were putting it out a day later than we normally do, or a few days later, that somebody was still there, like, waiting, you know?
Yeah.
It just means the world to us. So
Yeah.
thank you all so much, and we will see you in the outro.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Fan Fatales. We are a proud part of the Real Fans Podcast Network.
That's right, and if you want to check out more shows on the network, you can find them at rf4rm.com.
Join us next week, where we will be discussing all of the Disney live-action remakes.
Remember to subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts.
We are on Apple, Spotify, and Google Podcast, and subscribe to us on YouTube.
Please leave us a review and comment down below to tell us what you thought of the show. Remember to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at FanFatalesPod for the latest updates and to possibly be featured in a future episode. Now, Emma, where can the people find you on social media?
So my Instagram and TikTok are both at SnippyEmma, which is SNIPPYEMMA. What about you, Gabs?
I'm at Gaby Gent on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. That's GABYJENT.
Our editing is by the wonderful Kara Lensmeyer.
And as always, thank you for tuning in.
Bye!
The views expressed in this episode are not for the brand or company they're about.